The ticket arrived like any other. No alert sound. No red banner. Just a new line in my queue, stamped with the same sterile formatting I've stared at for years. Subject, access status, review required. Priority, standard. Requester, system. Origin, auto. I almost ignored it. Monday mornings are full of system-generated noise. Maintenance notes. Scheduled sync confirmations. Duplicate flags that resolve themselves by lunch. But this one had a name. Kayla Brains. I work in compliance services for a benefits administrator. Mid-sized. Not government, but we mirror their language because our clients are government adjacent. State plans. Municipal groups. Union funds. Sensitive records and strict audit trails. We keep the chain clean so no one ends up on a call with a lawyer. Most of my day is small fixes. One field wrong. One date missing. One dependent accidentally duplicated. It's not exciting, and that's the point. The safest jobs are the quiet ones. The ones built on process. The ones where nothing ever becomes personal. Caleb sat 2 desks down from me. He wasn't my friend. We didn't grab drinks. We didn't text. We didn't talk about anything outside work. Still, I trusted him in that office way. The way you trust someone who always does what they're supposed to do. Caleb was consistent. Early arrival. Quiet lunch at his desk. Notes updated same day. No sloppy closures. No mystery gaps. If he touched a case, it was clean. He wore the same plain button-down shirts in different colors. He drank black coffee from a stainless tumbler with no logo. He kept his desk empty except for a legal pad and a pen that always stayed capped. He moved like he didn't want to disturb the air. Reliable. Which is just another word for unnoticed. The building we worked in was an office park that had been renovated twice but never redesigned. Fluorescent lights. Gray carpet. Badge readers on every interior door. A lobby that smelled faintly of carpet cleaner and old coffee. The kind of place where time doesn't move forward, it loops. When I got in that morning, the lights came on in sections as I walked, like the floor was waking up reluctantly. Caleb was already there. His monitor was on. His hands were moving. The steady clicking and typing rhythm I'd heard 1,000 times. He didn't look up when I passed. He rarely did. He wasn't unfriendly. He was just always in the middle of something. I sat down, logged in, and pulled up the compliance portal. At the top of the screen was a pale blue banner. Scheduled maintenance completed. Please report anomalies. Generic. Forgettable. I opened my queue and started working. By 8:20, the office filled in. People drifted in with headphones on and coats half off. Someone laughed near the break room. A printer coughed. The day settled into its usual low hum. The ticket stayed there, waiting. At 8:47, after I cleared the first batch of routine items, I clicked it. The ticket body looked like it had been generated from a template and never finished. Please verify current access status and eligibility. Below it, one line. Employee, Kayla Brains. No ID number. No department field. No manager reference. That wasn't typical. Even system tickets had a trace. A batch ID. A job run number. Something that let you point to a source. I scrolled down. Requester, system. Approver. Batch ID. Blank. I clicked the embedded profile link. The page took a second longer than normal to load. Not a crash. Just a delay that made me notice my own breathing. Then the profile appeared. Name, Kayla Brains. Department, Compliance Services. Hire date, November 6, 2017. Status, inactive. I stared at the word. Inactive. Inactive meant separation. Termination. Extended leave. Transfer out. It meant the badge should fail. It meant his login should be disabled. It meant he shouldn't be sitting 2 desks away, typing like he always did. I looked up. Caleb was still there. I refreshed the page. Status, inactive. I clicked employment details. Status reason, separation. Effective date, 2025. Processed by. The date field was broken, like the system couldn't resolve it. But the timestamp on the audit trail was intact. I opened the audit trail. A list of events loaded with neat timestamps. 2:14 a.m., employment status update, inactive. 2:14 a.m., employment status update, inactive. 2:14 a.m., employment status update, inactive. 2:14 a.m., access override, approved. 2:14 a.m., badge sync, completed. It repeated the same time 5 times, like the system had pressed a rubber stamp and never lifted it. I didn't know why that bothered me so much. Maintenance happens overnight. That's normal. But this wasn't maintenance language. This was a status change. A separation. An override approval. Those aren't supposed to happen without a person attached. I clicked access permissions. Badge access, active. Network login, active. Data systems, active. Separated and active. I sat back and ran through the most reasonable options. HR processed a separation incorrectly. An integration wrote a bad status. A file import misfired. A downstream sync didn't cascade. We've had worse. So I did what you do in a place like this. I escalated the normal way. I opened IT support chat. Hi. I'm seeing an employee profile marked inactive but access is still active. Can you confirm if there's a known sync issue from last night's maintenance? The typing indicator blinked for a while. Then, please provide employee ID. I copied the ID field. There was no ID field. The profile was missing it. That alone was a problem. Our system doesn't allow employee records without IDs. It's not optional. It's how everything ties together. Benefits. Payroll. Claims. Access. It's not displaying, I typed. Profile shows name only. Caleb Rains, Compliance Services. A longer pause. Then, support cannot advise on HR status. Please consult HR. I stared at the message. Not asking HR status, I typed. Ticket assigned to me. I'm verifying access integrity. Status and access are inconsistent. The response came back fast, like a macro. Please route to HR via Employee Lifecycle Portal. That was it. No curiosity. No request for screenshots. No, that's strange. Just a redirect. I closed the chat and tried HR. The HR portal had a bright, cheerful interface that didn't match what it actually did. Lots of rounded corners. Friendly icons. It was designed to make procedures feel like self-care. I searched Caleb's name. No results. I searched by department. No results. I searched by email. I didn't know his email offhand. I clicked back to his profile. Email field, blank. Phone field, blank. Emergency contact, same AS employee. That field shouldn't be allowed either. It's invalid. The system is supposed to reject it. But it was there, accepted, like a deliberate choice. I minimized the HR portal and looked at Caleb. Still typing. Still calm. No visible tension. No looking around. No checking his phone. Just work. At 9:10, Beth, our manager, walked through the aisle. She stopped to say something to someone 2 rows over. She smiled, nodded, moved on. She passed Caleb's desk without looking at him. Without saying his name. Which wasn't unusual in itself. Beth wasn't a warm person. She managed by metrics and silence. But she usually acknowledged everyone in her orbit. A nod. A morning. Something. She didn't even glance. I told myself she was focused on something else. I went back to the system ticket. There was a button labeled Verify Eligibility. If the system wanted confirmation, I could give it. I could log the anomaly, document my actions, and push it to HR for formal resolution. That was the safe path. I clicked Verify Eligibility. A pop-up appeared. Select verification method. 1. Manager confirmation. 2. HR record check. 3. Automated confirmation. I chose automated confirmation. It asked me to confirm my identity, standard for high-integrity actions. Full name. Employee ID. Network password. I typed them and clicked confirm. The portal went blank. Not white. Not black. Just empty in that corporate gray, like it was waiting for content that hadn't been approved. Then a message appeared. Automated confirmation unavailable. Below it, one line. Reason, prior authorization exists. I blinked at the screen. Prior authorization for what? I clicked details. A smaller window opened. Authorization type, voice confirmation. Timestamp, 2:14 a.m. Result, match confirmed. File, audio_AUTH_0214.wave. Playback, restricted. In-person review only. My mouth went dry. We use voice confirmation for certain client changes. Rarely. Usually when a benefit termination is disputed or a dependent removal requires identity proof. It's not our primary method. It's a fallback. But we don't use voice confirmation for internal employee status. We don't record employee voice prints for access eligibility. Not in our policies. Not in any training I've had. And match confirmed raised a different kind of question. Match to what reference? I could feel my pulse in my fingertips. I clicked the audio file link, half expecting it to error out. Playback restricted. In-person review only. Under that was a procedural note, written in the same neutral tone as everything else. Do not bring additional parties unless requested. The exact wording made my stomach tighten. It wasn't just a restriction. It was an instruction. Like a meeting. Like a controlled environment. I closed the window and forced myself to breathe normally. I didn't want to stare at Caleb too long. I didn't want to make this into a thing. In places like ours, attention creates problems. You learn to move quietly through systems. You learn not to be the person who escalates something that will be handled later. But the ticket was assigned to me. The system had selected me. I stood up to get water, because I needed a reason to move. As I passed Caleb's desk, I caught a clean view of his monitor. It was our case interface. Same layout. Same font. Same color scheme. But in the top right corner, where my screen only shows my username, his screen had a label I'd never seen before. Continuity mode. Under it, in smaller text. Node, active. His queue looked different too. Not busier. Just older. The case numbers were lower, like he was working through items from years ago. Closed issues that should have been archived, reappearing like they'd never been resolved. Caleb didn't look up. He didn't react to my presence. He kept typing, steady and precise. I returned to my desk and sat down. I reopened the ticket. The verify button was still there, but grayed out now. A new field had appeared beneath the ticket header. Successor assignment, pending. I stared at it, waiting for my brain to decide it was a glitch. Then the field populated. Successor assignment, J. Mercer. That was me. Not my full name. Just the initial and last name the way internal systems format identities. I didn't move. I didn't click anything. But the next line appeared anyway, like the system was continuing a process that no longer required my input. Authorization required, voice confirmation. Reference file, audio_AUTH_0214.wave. Timestamp, 2:14 a.m. Status, match confirmed. And then, as if it was the most ordinary request in the world, a single button appeared at the bottom of the ticket. Confirm continuity. It looked harmless. Just another confirmation in a job built on confirmations. The cursor hovered over it without me touching the mouse. I looked down the row. Caleb was still there. Typing. Continuity mode, active. And for the first time, I noticed his badge clip. The plastic card at his waist was facing outward. The photo was him. Same calm face. Same neutral expression. But where the name should have been printed, the strip was blank. Clean white. Like the system had decided it was no longer allowed to write it. Caleb kept typing. As if the only job he had now was to stay. And the only job the system needed from me was to agree. After that, things repeated. Not in a dramatic way. In the way systems repeat when they've entered a stable state. At 10:02, my queue refreshed. The ticket was still there. Same subject. Same priority. Same button waiting at the bottom. Confirm continuity. At 10:14, a new log entry appeared under the audit trail. 10:14 a.m., successor evaluation, in progress. No user listed. No approver. Just system. At 10:22, it appeared again. 10:22 a.m., successor evaluation, in progress. Same language. Same formatting. I didn't click anything. I didn't touch the mouse. I let my hands rest flat on the desk like that might communicate something. I pulled up my own employee profile in a separate window. Everything looked normal at first. Status active. Access normal. No warnings. Then I scrolled. Under access permissions, a new line had appeared. Continuity role, secondary. I hadn't seen that field before. I searched the internal glossary. Nothing. No documentation. No reference in the handbook. I opened the audit trail on my own profile. 2:14 a.m., continuity role assignment, secondary. 2:14 a.m., voice authorization, match confirmed. The timestamp was the same. I hadn't been in the building at 2:14 in the morning. I knew that. I lived 40 minutes away. I slept lightly. I would remember leaving the house. Still, there it was. I minimized the window and looked down the row. Caleb was still working. At 10:30, Beth called for another quick check-in. Just her and me this time. She messaged me directly, asked if I had a minute. I followed her into one of the glass-walled rooms. The kind designed to look transparent while still muffling sound. She closed the door. "Everything okay?" she asked. Her tone was neutral. Not concerned. Just procedural. "I'm seeing some inconsistencies in the system," I said. "Around Caleb's profile." She didn't react right away. She nodded once, like she was acknowledging a category, not a person. "That's already being handled," she said. "Handled how?" She glanced at her tablet. Scrolled. "Through the appropriate channels." I waited. She looked back up at me. "You don't need to worry about it," she said. "Just keep your queue moving." I considered saying his name again. Saying it out loud. Testing whether it landed. "Caleb is still working," I said. "His status shows inactive." Beth didn't correct me. She didn't say yes or no. She said, "Continuity requirements can create overlap." That was all. Then she added, "If anything requires your confirmation, the system will guide you." I went back to my desk feeling like I'd stepped out of a conversation that had ended before I arrived. At 11:06, my badge reader chirped softly. I hadn't gone anywhere. A notification appeared on my screen. Access zone updated. No reason listed. At lunch, I watched people walk past Caleb's desk. No one spoke to him. No one asked him to join them. No one even looked. It was subtle. If I hadn't been paying attention, I might not have noticed. People get focused. People get busy. But when someone dropped a folder near his chair, they bent down, picked it up, and placed it on the shared cabinet without acknowledging him. As if the space he occupied was just that. Space. At 12:41, the ticket changed again. Successor assignment, J. Mercer. Status, ready. The confirm button pulsed faintly, like a reminder. I hovered over it. A warning tooltip appeared. Confirming continuity will finalize role transition. This action cannot be reversed. Below that, in smaller text. Failure to confirm may result in service interruption. Service interruption was a serious phrase in our environment. It meant missed payments. Delayed benefits. Complaints that escalated beyond us. It meant audits. It meant someone would be held responsible. At 1:18, another log line appeared. 1:18 p.m., continuity threshold reached. I stood up and walked to Caleb's desk. He noticed me then. Just slightly. His eyes lifted, met mine, then returned to the screen. "I think something's wrong," I said quietly. He didn't respond. Not like he didn't hear me. Like he wasn't addressed. I stood there for a few seconds longer than was comfortable. Then he reached into his drawer and took out his pen. The capped one. He placed it on the edge of my desk as he walked past me toward the printer. That was it. No explanation. No look back. Just a small, ordinary action. The kind that could be interpreted as nothing if you wanted it to be. I returned to my seat and looked at the pen. It was unmarked. Cheap. The kind ordered in bulk. At 2:02, the system sent me a reminder. Pending action, confirm continuity. At 2:14, everything paused. Not the lights. Not the office. Just my screen. Then it refreshed. 2:14 p.m., continuity confirmation, initiated. The cursor moved. I didn't move it. A dialog box opened. Please confirm identity to proceed. Full name. Employee ID. Network password. I filled them in. I don't know why. Habit, maybe. Or the quiet pressure of knowing that not responding is still a response. Another field appeared. Voice confirmation required. A microphone icon pulsed. I didn't speak. The icon pulsed anyway. 2:14 p.m., voice authorization, match confirmed. The confirmation didn't wait for me. The system didn't need me to perform the action. It needed me to be the action. The final message appeared without ceremony. Continuity complete. Primary operator, J. Mercer. Node status, active. Previous operator, archived. I looked down the row. Caleb's desk was empty. No chair. No monitor. No badge clip. Just carpet with a faint square where the chair mat had been. No one reacted. No announcement. No conversation. At 2:16, my screen refreshed again. Continuity mode. Node, active. My queue populated with older cases. Lower numbers. Things that should have been finished long ago. I picked up the pen from my desk. It fit my hand. I started typing. At 2:18, the log updated. 2:18 p.m., operator stabilized. And somewhere deep in the system, a process marked itself complete. The lights hummed. The queue waited. The system remained active.